I still remember that night like it's carved into my bones. A sticky summer night in a little Texas town where neon gas station lights buzzed like tired bees and the pavement smelled of oil and rain. I just turned 17. My name's Jordan Walker, and back then, I thought the world was finally starting to notice me for the right reasons. I'd been working double shifts at a fried chicken spot, saving up for my first used car. That night, all I wanted was a bottle of cold water and the quiet drive home. Instead, I walked straight into the kind of nightmare folks warn you about, but you never believe until it happens to you. I was stepping out of the store bottle, still sweating in my hand, when a voice cut across the parking lot. Kids like you only show up here to cause trouble. She didn't whisper it either. She wanted everyone to hear. Officer Madison Keene. Blonde hair scraped back a scowl that could dent steel, and a badge she wore like it was a weapon. She moved fast, grabbed my wrist, hard enough to make the bottle slip a little. Her eyes said guilty before I'd even opened my mouth. Phones came up all around like a field of little moons, people watching but not moving. "Ma'am, I'm just buying water," I stammered. My voice cracked, tired from the grease and heat of the kitchen I'd left an hour earlier. Madison smirked. "Sure you are. Hand over what's in your pockets." She said it loud enough for the pumps to hear. The humiliation washed over me like a second skin. I looked around hoping someone might say something, but folks stared at their shoes or their screens. Another cop walked up, Officer Troy Ellis, taller, heavier, with that look of someone who's decided you're already a story on the evening news. He shoved his hand into my pocket, pulling out my crumpled $5 bill and shaking his head like he'd found evidence of a crime. "Looks like you're hiding something," he said with a little laugh like we were in on a joke. But I wasn't laughing. My throat burned. Phones were still up. A man by the pumps lifted his a little higher, trying to get the angle. For a second, that glow of a phone screen felt like hope. Madison noticed too. She leaned in, her breath sour with coffee, and hissed right at my ear. "You think anyone here will believe you? You were born a liar." Those words sliced deeper than her grip. I tried to step back, but the wall of her body blocked the door like a brick fence. She yanked the bottle from my hand and smashed it on the pavement. Water splashed across my shoes, mixing with bits of glass. "Property damage. That's enough to take you in," she shouted to the crowd, turning my night into her stage. Every time her boot struck the concrete, it sounded like a hammer coming down. People gasped. Nobody stepped forward. Then out of nowhere, a deep voice called. I recorded everything. It came from a tall kid near the vending machine, holding his phone up like a torch. Sweat dripped off his face, but his arm stayed steady. "You're framing him," he said, his voice shaking but clear. For a second, Madison's eyes flickered. Troy muttered something under his breath. The kid's words sliced the night in half. I felt my heart kick against my ribs. "Don't stop. Keep recording," I whispered, my own voice hoarse. That's when the black sedan rolled in smooth quiet like it belonged to a different world. Headlights swept across the lot, bleaching everything in white. The driver's door opened, and out stepped a woman in a fitted navy suit, heels clicking like a countdown clock. For a moment, nobody breathed. Madison squinted at her. Troy straightened his posture. I just stared. The woman walked right up to us and stopped a few feet away. Her face was calm, but her eyes were the color of thunder. "Let him go," she said evenly. Madison laughed. "And who are you supposed to be?" The woman reached into her jacket and held up a badge, not a police badge. "I'm Camille Walker," she said, "mayor of this city, and that boy is my brother." The crowd erupted, murmurs, then shouts, then phones rising higher. "That's the mayor," someone yelled. Madison's smirk slipped for the first time all night. Troy's hand twitched near his holster. "You think blood ties change the law?" Madison snapped, trying to pull herself back together. "He committed a crime. Step aside." Camille took one more step, her heels clicking like a gavel. "You're going to regret what you've done," she said quietly, but it carried farther than Madison's shouting. In that moment, the air changed. People who had been silent started calling out. "We saw everything. He didn't steal." Someone's live stream chat exploded. Hashtags started scrolling. Troy's eyes darted back and forth like he'd just realized the floor beneath him was cracking. Madison tightened her grip on me anyway. "I don't care who you are," she growled. "I'm not afraid." Camille held her phone up. "This is a direct order," she said, her voice steady. Release my brother now, or the entire department will answer for it. The crowd surged closer, chants of justice rippling like a drumbeat. Phones flashed. Madison hesitated. Troy muttered something about too many cameras. Then slowly he reached for the cuffs. The metallic click echoed louder than any shout when they popped open. My wrists burned as blood rushed back. I'll never forget the sound of that cheer, strangers cheering not for a celebrity or a game, but for a kid they didn't know, a kid who'd been cornered and humiliated. The chant rolled across the lot, justice, justice, until it felt like the pavement itself was vibrating. Madison's face went red. "You're all traitors," she screamed, but her words bounced off the chant like paper against a storm. That night turned into something bigger than me. By morning, the video was everywhere, trending. Tags, news sites, anchors leaning over their desks like they'd seen a ghost. Reporters camped outside City Hall. Old case files linked to Madison Keene surfaced online, names of kids who never came home, complaints buried and forgotten. People started marching downtown carrying signs with my name on them, lighting candles for names I'd never heard, but would never forget. A week later, I was sitting in a federal courtroom, watching Madison in an orange jumpsuit, her hands folded, but her chin tilted up. My sister took the stand and said, calm as steel, I watched Sergeant Keene frame and assault my brother. Then she played the clip for the jury. My face bruised, my wrists cuffed, her badge raised. The room went dead quiet except for the sound of Madison's breath catching in her throat. And then something I didn't expect happened. Officer Troy Ellis cracked. He sat there, sweating, eyes darting. When the prosecutor asked if he'd witnessed misconduct, he swallowed hard, then nodded. I can't cover for her anymore, he whispered into the microphone. That broke the dam. People in the gallery gasped. Madison shot up from her chair, screaming, traitor, but it sounded desperate, not powerful. From that point on, it wasn't about one night at a gas station, it was about a system. Federal agents raided precinct files. Headlines shifted from teen accused to system exposed. My name, Jordan Walker, showed up on shirts, murals, hashtags. But what stuck with me wasn't fame or politics. It was the night in that parking lot, my knees on the concrete, and the sound of someone saying I recorded everything. When the verdict finally came down guilty on multiple counts, stripped of her badge, the plaza outside the courthouse erupted. Thousands of candles lit up like fireflies. People cried, hugged strangers, chanted for kids who'd never gotten their chance to walk away. I stood there with Camille's arm around my shoulder, still smelling gasoline and glass in my memory, and realized that for the first time in my life, I wasn't alone. But it didn't end like a movie where the credits roll and the bad guy disappears. Madison Keene, even as she was led away, hissed over her shoulder, "This isn't over." That part still chills me, because I know the struggle's bigger than one officer or one trial. Systems don't melt overnight. They crack slowly under pressure, under witness, under thousands of eyes refusing to blink. I tell this story now not because I want sympathy, but because I want you to feel what it's like standing under flickering lights with no one stepping forward until someone does. It changes everything. It's terrifying. It's messy, but it's real. It's how change starts. And now I'm asking you, what do you see when you watch something like this? Do you believe people can still tell the truth under pressure? Do you think justice actually stands a chance when power's been corrupt for so long? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me if you've ever seen something like this and stayed silent, or if you stepped up. Because this story might have my name on it, but it's about all of us. It's about deciding whether we're going to be the person who looks away or the one who hits record.